It's time again for another installment of The Basics, and on today's show, in regards to the Star Trek CCG, I recently was asked several questions on one of my previous videos by a YouTube viewer, and I am going to try to answer a few of them on today's show. So, let's get started, shall we? Now, the viewer in question asked a slew of questions, and I answered a couple of them via a text response on said video, but I'm going to answer the rest of them in this episode. The first one and the biggest question he asked is, do you have to use dilemmas under each mission? Can you have 30 cards, give or take, in your seed deck and none of them be dilemmas? And the simple answer to that is no. The whole point of the seed phase is to seed mainly dilemmas under missions so you can thwart your opponent from scoring points on missions. Dilemmas are created for that reason. They're the main card that you use to seed under dilemmas. Yes, you can seed other cards that do different things, artifacts, doorways, and whatnot, objectives to a certain degree, but dilemmas are the main cards that go after your opponent and prevent him from scoring points that could help him win the game. Basically, if you do not put dilemmas under any mission in the seed phase, you are handing your opponent a very easy victory. It's as simple as that. Why you would not want to put dilemmas makes no sense to me. Second question I'm going to answer, he also asks, how many artifacts can I seed? Where can I put them? During the seed phase, any artifact that is able to be seeded, you can put it under any planet or space location wherever you want. But some artifact cards, such as, by example here from my Romulan deck, the Veron T Disruptor, you use as an equipment card, so you would not seed this. You could conceivably seed it, but it wouldn't serve a purpose. You would use this as an artifact card either in your draw deck or in your Q's Tent side deck. The third and final question that I'm going to answer is how to seed doorways and how many doorways can you seed. There's really no limit to the amount of doorways you can seed, but as I've stated on previous episodes, I don't use a large amount of doorways in my deck, and most of the ones that I do use are used in my hand or my Q's Tent, depending on what they are and what deck they pertain to, and that's the thing. You're going to choose doorways based on the deck you're using or building, and you're going to either seed them as necessary or keep them in your hand or Q's Tent side deck, depending on the affiliation and the other cards in that deck. So for example, the space-time portal seeds or plays on table, so you can put it under a space-time location, have it come up, or you can put it in your hand or your Q's Tent. Same goes with the alternate universe door. You can place one on table during the seed phase. That means all of your alternate universe cards can now report, or you stock in deck and use as follows. Place to nullify a revolving door, subspace schism, and you discard it, or allows one ship to pass through a Q-net, discard, or nullify one temporal rift and return doorway to your hand. This, again, it all comes down to the deck you're building and the instructions on the doorway and what it does. Moving back to the dilemmas, I'm still confused as to why someone would think that having no dilemmas at all would actually serve a purpose when it doesn't. You have to have dilemmas in your deck during the seed phase. Playing without dilemmas, again, as I said, you're handing your opponent a victory. It's stupid, it's pointless. Don't do it! Now, that being said, I'm going to try to answer more questions on future episodes because I seem to be having a lot of questions show up on my episodes. I'm all too happy to answer questions from anyone out there that is playing the Star Trek CCG or any of the CCGs that I talk about. But if you're going to ask me a question like, why can't I have no dilemmas? Or, what does the universal icon mean? Come on. Those are generic questions. You can find them in the rule book or an issue of Scry or online. There are various websites you can check out that have a lot of information on various CCGs. I'm trying to answer more involved intermediate questions about the game. Even though the show is called The Basics and I like to keep it simple, there is something to be said about being too simple. That's all for today. Have a great day, everybody.